Well, this is a bit of an update on my shrimpless shrimp tank. It will have shrimp in it. It's got a lot of plants, uh, piles of plants actually. In the back there, though, I took the foam intake filter off of the HOB filter. Um, I wanted to see if I could get the HOB working a little bit harder, and it is at the moment. I think it's actually doing a pretty good job. The bag there has got a bunch of ceramic in it. Actually, I think it's probably pumice. I bought a bunch of it and then I threw a bag of it in there to collect some bacteria over the next few weeks while I get another tank ready. Now down here it's all subwasser tang for the most part. Now this subwasser tang, which actually is right there, and then up on a piece of koya wood here, and then there's little bits and pieces of it floating around that got left behind. That just, I think it's tripled, if not more. And the guppies like it. Look at this little guy. Like, he's just a guppy, but he's gorgeous. So I know those things look ugly, but I really need the bacteria for my next tank startup. And then once that's done, and if you get down here, then we can look at why I like Salvinia. I just like those roots hanging down. There's just something about them. And I've got some water lettuce coming. Frogbit maybe is actually what I got coming. And that's got an even better root system. And I'm really looking forward to it. Then down over here, this is a piece of panda wood, which is a piece of teak, actually, root. And now the nice thing about this, and for you guys that don't like blackwater tanks, I'm on your side. I'm just not a fan. There's nothing wrong with them or anything. Guys love blackwater tanks, and that's great. But if you get a piece of this, it's got kind of an amber color when you get it. It's a little bit yellow. And actually, it tints the water, so your blackwater tank becomes an amber color. And it's actually quite nice. So all of this is Java moss. You can see that, and I didn't tie any of the Java moss in. I just stuffed it into nooks and crannies in the roots, and that Java moss has increased by 4. I would say a good 4 times. And I picked that up at Dan's Fish in Ontario. So, and then I've got a lot of Vallisneria here. And I like Val, I really do. I started to have it just as a floating in the water column plant, but I kind of like, I planted it and it just reproduces. This one here didn't root in the gravel, but I mean, I've got all kinds of new plants started. I don't know, it's just this aquarium, I know it looks a little bit unkempt and maybe that's me, but I kind of like the way it's coming along. And it's basically, it's going to have a lot of crystal red shrimp in it eventually, and these guppies will move on to the next tank. Transient guppies. But they are pretty cool. They're just guppies, but they're also pretty. And they depend on me to make sure that their water's clean, and it's not like they have anywhere they can go besides here. It's kind of like us on our planet, right? If we screw this one up, we're kind of done. So I got moss balls in the bottom here. Oh, well, they're actually algae balls, but I don't really know that they add anything. My understanding is they actually belong in cold water. And I bought them ages ago just 'cause, I think. And I don't think that I've done them any favors, and I don't think they've added anything to this. I've got 2 plecostomus. You can just see the one back there, who's you can just see his silhouette back there. They each get an algae tablet every day. When my dog usually gets about 2 or 3 algae tablets, and the plecostomus each get 1 algae tablet. Yeah, I know, my dog loves algae tablets. He's just weird, but it's his favorite snack. So then there's more subwasser tang, and you can see I have quite a few snails, but unlike other people, I like snails, and that's just my personal preference. You don't have to like snails to like me, and you don't have to like me to like snails, right? I just like snails. They're part of the underwater system. I do have bladder snails. I didn't know if I really wanted bladder snails. They showed up in my plants when I bought the plants. Let's see if I can get this guy. Oh, there he is. Let me see if I can get him to focus in on us here. And, but he's not, he's not hurting anything. There's a few of them. There's 4, 5, 6 of them, maybe a few more. But they tend to up and down depending on how much food I feed. And I don't overfeed this tank, but I did have a catappa leaf. You'll see if you can just see that skeleton that's left. There's no shrimp in here yet. When the shrimp go in, I'll be making arrangements for these fish to have other habitat. And I've got some frogbit coming, or I will have, and that's going to go and add more to the surface. Now my light up here, and you'll have to excuse any mess you see. This is my man cave, and right now it's sort of in flux. I do a lot of fly tying and stuff like that, so these are let me just go and get some light on here. Okay, some light on. There we go. And you can see my light. I've actually got 2 of them. Got one here, like this. And then I've got another one right next to it. Now, those lights are not expensive, believe me. I think I paid $15 for one and $30 for the other one. They have an on-off switch. You can put them into a timer on your plug-in on your outlet on the wall. I use a crate for the lid. This tank is not very warm. I'm slowly turning it down because my room temperature down here is about the same temperature as what my tank needs to be for these fish. So I'm eventually not going to have the heaters on at all, and I'm anticipating less evaporation too. So going back down here to that piece of panda wood, and I don't know if I can show you that property, but it is an absolutely gorgeous piece. Anybody who's in the Edmonton area, Google Chris's Fishes, and I got that nice piece of panda wood from Chris for, I think it was $35. And I'll tell you what, it is one of the nicest pieces of wood that I've got for a tank anywhere at a good price. But it's just changes. Like if you go back and look at that, look at the tint. I mean, you might not like black water, but there's not a lot not to like about this. To me, clear water is nice for certain species, but not all water in nature is clear. It's for us, we clean it up. I kind of like to go a little bit more on the natural side, and again, that's just me. Nothing I ever say here is meant to put any judgment on anybody else. I just kind of like to see things the way they are. I mean, I can go up in the mountains where I fly fish, and I can find crystal clear streams with lots of cutthroat trout in them. I can go down in the pond, in the small lakes that I really like with piles of invertebrates, and they're tanned, or tannic, tea-stained, lakes. And they're just as beautiful to me, and I catch just as many fish, and there's lots of plants and lots of life in them. So, for me, I just like to try and keep things just as natural looking as I can. And so this is the Shrimpless shrimp tank. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks it will be a shrimp tank. One can hope. I've been waiting for weeks to order them. Weeks, like months. This tank has been sitting here cruising away for quite a long time. So, anyway, I hope you like it. I hope you guys are having a good time starting your own tanks up too. Starting your own tank has got to be the most fun, as long as you pick 1 or 2 people that are good at what they're doing and follow them. Don't try and follow everybody, because if you follow everybody, you have 24 different ways of doing any one thing, and you'll go nuts. You're better off to pick 2 or 3 people that have good common sense. Take a look at their videos, follow them, and do what they do until you feel comfortable doing it on your own. And you'll get there. You don't have to be Captain America, you don't have to be Superman to be able to do fish. You just have to listen a little bit, think a little bit, and learn as much as you can. So there you go, all the way from somewhere in northern Canada. We'll talk again.